When are you too old to be a correctional officer? When are you too young to be a correctional officer? And younger officers versus older officers. Well, I'm going to talk about both. So I'm going to start with the older officers first. So you younger officers, just hang tight. We got some good things to say about you also. But there are many differences between older officers and younger officers today. And with each generation that passes, I think this is a common theme, a common thing that happens with every generation. And we're just dealing with it now ourselves. So here are some things I just wanted to go over, okay? I know some officers that are started and have started their career at age 50 plus. And I can't think of one that I've known or worked with at age 50 plus that started this career as a correctional officer that didn't do a good job, that didn't come in with the attitude of, I'm going to stick this out at least till 65, get 15 years under my belt, get my Social Security and get a pension out of it, you know. Some I've known a few that have gone to 70 years old and still kicking and still volunteering for overtime. But they finally decided, I'm gonna hit the road at 70. It depends all on your mental and physical strength, your attitude, and that goes for young or old on those. But let's talk about older officers and why they are vital to corrections. Older officers have more life experience with people, obviously. They've worked other jobs before, obviously, or they have been in corrections since they were young. And now, 20, 25 years later, they're older with lots of experience. We must have that experience in the workforce in order to teach the younger officers and help the younger officers figure out things that inmates do, such as inmate manipulation, the tricks inmates play, the games inmates play, how to transport inmates, how to do hospital watch. There's so many reasons for training. We need older officers for training. Not that younger officers can't. We'll get to you guys. I'm going to get to you guys. Just hang on. Let me do the older officers, okay? Older officers between 50 and 65 seem to stick around for the long haul, as I said earlier. They finish what they started. A study, or not just one, but several studies have shown that older officers are more into their work, into getting it done correctly, okay, and getting the job done the way it should be done. You know, by the book, by policy and procedure, but also getting the job finished, not half finished. What is an older officer's pot of gold at the end of the rainbow? What makes them stay for the long haul? Well, you know, many people do enjoy the job, believe it or not. There are good days, bad days, and every day can be a dangerous day and risky day in corrections. But older officers are hanging on, in the end, let's be real, for that pension and that health insurance. Unlike younger officers, who right now, many younger officers could care less, they're job jumping, they're not worried about pension and health insurance, which I hate to see that. I always hear people say, well, why should I worry about it, younger people? Why should I worry about it? It won't be there for me when I get to the end anyway. Well, that's not true necessarily. There will be health insurance benefits. There will be some type of pension. You know, please think about your future in the end of the rainbow. That's what older officers look at. The security. When I retire, will I live comfortable? Will I have enough money for a roof over my head, food, and will I have health insurance? Okay, that's a biggie. Older officers also take pride, and they want to be productive and effective in the workforce. They want to be useful. They want to stay mentally active. And they want to get the job done, as I mentioned earlier. And I'm not saying that younger folks don't want to do that. We'll get to you younger folks in a minute. But there are many younger folks that just say, I'm just here temporarily, I want to get 3 years under my belt, and I want to go be an FBI agent, I want to go be on the street in a patrol car, well, that's fine too, because those jobs, we need people in those jobs. But no matter how long you stay, younger folks, get in there and do the job correctly. Because remember, when you want to jump ship and go to another job because it's greener, you feel the grass is greener on the other side, remember who they're going to ask when they come back for job references. They're going to talk to your supervisors. They're going to ask them, well, he was a correctional officer, or she was a correctional officer for 3 years, just applied for FBI, Quantico, Virginia. How was their work habits? Well, they were fair. You know, a lot of supervisors are going to be fair in their answer as well. Maybe they want to say you weren't worth a damn, but a lot of supervisors can say it in a nice way where they'll pick up. They were fair. They were fair. You know, I wouldn't put them as best officers I ever had. But he was fair. She was fair. They might get the hint that something's not right there, and you may or may not get hired by another agency. Remember, don't burn bridges. Whether you want to stay in corrections for 3 to 5 years and hit the road, or you want to stay in corrections for the long haul, do the job. Don't burn your bridges. Now, older officers, it is said, need less supervision. I believe that is true. Now, listen, everything I'm saying here has a variable, okay? Older officers need less supervision. That's with the majority. But there's always going to be some older officers that still need supervision. We know that. Please try to keep an open mind as I talk about these things. Everything is not set in stone 100% what I'm saying. But it is leaning towards more do need less supervision than don't. Okay? They make good mentors. Many older officers make great mentors. Again, some don't. But the majority of older officers make great mentors to younger officers to help teach them, as I discussed earlier. Okay? Why are they great mentors? And why are they good for the job? Most older officers have more patience and more loyalty to the agency. You know, don't rush in that fight, youngster. Youngster, get back. I know you're big and strong. You're 6'2" and strong as a bull. I'm 63 years old, and I think I'm still fairly strong, but not like I used to be. I'm going to hold them back. Hey, hold back there, youngster. Let's wait. This is getting pretty bad in there, and you've already called. You're just going to wait for a couple more officers to get there. You're going to work smarter, not harder. You're going to think about things when you're older to prevent injuries, hopefully. Again, not 100% will, but the majority of older officers will. And you're going to get the job done, okay? So that's some of the things I'm trying to point out with the older officers. Now, younger officers are more adept to technology. I always liked having a younger one. I can get on the laptop and do a PowerPoint. I can do a YouTube video. I can Google for research and find things I need. But let me tell you, a lot of these younger officers, it's like, man, I liked it. You know, I could sit there and type my report just like they could, but man, they can knock it out. And I like to have young officers around myself. Young officers that have the initiative and want to get the job done correctly. Not the ones that want to get everything. Give me, give me, give me. You know, I hate it when you're working with a young officer and you sit there and look at him and go, all right, and I was big mouth. I opened my mouth with him. I said, hey, I've just done the last 3 rounds. Anytime today you think you're going to get up out of that chair and get going? And I would only do a couple of rounds just to see if they would take the initiative, you know, at the beginning of the shift. And then after a couple of rounds and they're not taking initiative to do anything, I would jump on them and say, if you're going to work with me, you need to get up and you need to get out there. See that towel hanging on that thing? Get out there and tell them get that towel off. Make them have some initiative if they don't have it. Again, everything's not 100% in stone. You know there's a lot of younger officers out there who have the initiative. Some of them are saying right now, well, hey, true friend stories. I've worked with older officers that don't get their ass up out of the chair. And you're talking about younger. It goes both ways, right? I know you've worked with some older ones that are lazier than hell. I can't stand a lazy officer. Young, middle-aged, old, I don't like lazy. Never did. But for some reason, younger officers get the bad rap of not having initiative. Well, it's true with a lot of them. Give me my paycheck, but I don't want to do nothing for it. But then there's the other younger officers who I'm in contact with that are working in different prisons, and they're like, man, you know, I know the pay raise wasn't much, but I'm so happy to get it. I'm so happy to get it. Whereas an older officer, they're complaining, that pay raise isn't worth a damn. Hell, that doesn't do anything for me except maybe give me $1,200 more a year. And the younger officer's going, $1,200 is $1,200, I'll take it. You know, hopefully next year we can get another pay raise. And that's true. I think their younger officers seem more appreciative of a little chunk. Now, I think all corrections needs a big chunk, big pay raise, don't get me wrong. But I've always said, take what you can get. If you're only getting $1,200 this year, we'll take it because it adds up. You know, just like my pension, I retired 3 years ago. I get 3% pay raise a year on my pension. I'm going to be way above what I was making at the jail. I did state time and jail time. And I'm going to be making more than when I was there. Come on, folks. Think ahead. Think outside the box. Take these chunks as you can get them and be happy, but continue to fight for more pay raises. New blood, young officers, new blood, they have more ideas. They're always up thinking, how can we make this better? How can we make this better? How can we change this to make it easier but efficient and effective? And older officers are like, man, leave it like it is. Don't touch it. Leave it alone. I don't like change. I've been doing this for 25 years. I ain't changing nothing. I'm staying the same way I am. Let me tell you, sometimes change is good, folks. You have to change with the times. Inmates are changing drastically every day, every month, every year with new ways to do things to get over on us. They're using technology as well to their advantage. If you can get a young officer in there who comes up with a better idea, listen to them. You know, don't be an old grump. I used to call some of my fellow officers, my older fellow officers, grump. You're just a grump. Do you ever do anything but complain? Quit complaining and open your mind up, okay? Told you younger officers I'd get to you guys here. See, now I'm reversing it. Issues with both sides, right? We're going to discuss them. Please tell me your thoughts here. Newer employees can adapt to change easier than older employees. It's a lifelong thing. It's always been that way. Any profession. Older guys just hate change sometimes, you know. Younger employees don't seem to have problem with voicing their opinion, and sometimes it gets a little out of hand. Sometimes the older officers have to rope them in and say, listen, your idea is great. Let's discuss it. But calm down, okay? Calm down. There's some things you just don't understand about the job yet. And that's why we cannot use your idea right now. And then we have to explain to the younger officer why we can't do that. You know, they're mad. Well, what's the matter? Is it just because I came up with the idea? You know, it's like working with your dad, you know, and you're building something. Hey, Dad, why don't we take that 2x4 and saw it and put it right here and that'll stabilize that? No, I don't want to do it that way. And then 10 minutes later, he's doing exactly what you mentioned. You go, hey, I came up with that idea. Yeah, but it wasn't my idea. You know, we've seen that happen too. Like it has to be the older officer's idea. We need to work together, communicate good, and we can do this, folks, because bottom line to everything I'm saying today, we need younger officers and we need older officers. We just have to find a way to get those millennials and those baby boomers somehow connected to work together. I didn't have any problems, and I can remember working, you know, in the jail, at the courthouse, at the prison, because I came out of the Army at 28 years old and went to the prison, and I worked with a real young guy. I remember him well back, you know, all the way back to 1990. And I just don't remember having any issues working with young folks. And some young people and some old people have issues working together. We got to get rid of that. We're all on the same team, remember that. But just remember, both sides have good, both sides have bad. But we need us all, right? We need us all desperately right now. We need young and old alike. Now, I'm not going to get into it today, but let me know your thoughts. How young is too young? You know, some agencies drop to age 18 now for hiring correctional officers. And how old is too old to be a correctional officer? I just told you I know two guys right here in my county that worked up to 70, and they were still volunteering for overtime. You know, how old is too old? How young is too young? Let me know your thoughts. I just threw all these out there as a conversation starter. God bless you all. Thank you for your service. Stay safe and stay strong. True Prison Stories.